Hey everyone, it's Ben Hardy here, and in today's I'm going to be reviewing a manual Camaro ZL1. Before we get in this video, I want to give a huge shout out and thank you to the Porsche Salt Lake City for giving me some time with this Camaro. They have this particular one available for sale for the time being, and I've been saying this in several videos, but seriously, they have some of the coolest pre-owned inventory, so check out their inventory in the description down below. And then on a side note, if you want to save time and money the next time you purchase a car, link to my car buying guide in the description down below. Let's get into it. Powering this is a supercharged 6.2 liter V8 that goes through a 6-speed manual transmission. Power outputs are a whopping 650 horsepower and then 650 pound-feet of torque. Now, before we move forward with this review, I do want to mention, if you want to see more videos just like this, then I recommend you subscribe because I post content every single day. So starting with the hood, I love how it's blacked out here in the center. Of course, you got the ZL1 badges on either side, and then the metallic gray on this is really cool. Popping down below, we have the best iteration of the Camaro headlights here on the ZL1, and this is a 23 for those of you that are wondering. And then look at the little light down below, and then I love the front splitter here, super aggressive. Then of course the ZL1 badge there, and it has the Chevy flow tie. But putting it all together, this is so aggressive, and it just, you can tell it means business. So coming on the side here, our tire and wheel setup is 285, 30, 20 in the front, and then 305, 30, 20 in the rear. And then when you take a look at the wheels themselves, it's this cool kind of like gloss metallic gray, and then you got the giant, and I mean giant, brake rotors and calipers that come with this. They are Brembo brakes for those of you that are wondering. I love the boxy muscular design here you can see on the side, especially there with the rear fenders. Looks really cool. And speaking of side, here is your full side view. And here's a quick look at the key fob. We have our lock and unlock function. You got the opening for the trunk and then the Chevy bow tie in the back. And speaking of the back, you guys can see there's quite a bit of storage space here in the rear. Another one of the big benefits of the ZL1. Even though it's a two-door sports car, it's pretty practical. I will say though, the opening is kind of small. Now, taking a look at the spoiler here in the back end, you guys can see pops up a little bit, really cool. And then you got the circular taillights. Some people love them, some people hate them. I personally really like them. And then look at the exhaust tips there at the bottom, and then of course the ZL1. And putting it all together, let me know you guys think about the looks of it, but really cool for a muscle car. Now, popping inside, I love the Alcantara here at the top and down below, and the red stitching also looks really cool. You can see there's tons of little inserts there. Anyways, we got our window controls, both of them are automatic. You got memory seats, you got blind spot monitoring. And if your wife happens to be watching this review, it's a family car. It's got 4 seats total, 2 in the back here. So, I mean, 2 plus 2, that's family car, and even has a wireless phone charging pad there in the back as well. I mean, it doesn't get more practical than that. Anyways, here's a quick look at the front seats. You can see you got the ZL1 logo perforated down the center, really cool with like the leather trim on the outside. And the seat is power adjustable. And then this is where you can see the 3-pedal layout. And then you got the heads-up display controls. Now, taking a look at the steering wheel wrapped in Alcantara, got the ZL1 logo there at the bottom, and then you have the rev match function there you can turn on or off with the paddle shifters there on the steering wheel, and then you got regular practical controls here on the front as well, and then your stocks there on the back. Now, here is the gauge clutch. You guys can see you've got analog gauges on either side, and then you've got some screen action there in the center. Coolest part is all the different drive modes. So you have a touring mode, you have a sport mode, and a track mode, and then an ice mode. Like, not a ton of different drive modes, but I think that it represents the personality of the car well. In reverse, we do have a backup camera with trajectory lines that turn with the steering wheel and resolution with the camera system solid. And then as for the resting infotainment system, I mean, I think it's a good unit. Responds well, has Apple CarPlay, has Android Auto. Got the physical buttons here at the bottom with it. And then you can see you've got luxury stuff like heated and cooled seats. We have our little climate controls for the dual zone climate system, and you have these where you turn the thing around the fan to actually turn up or down the temperature. I just think that's kind of a fun little quirk. And then this leads us to the shifter 4. The 6-speed manual transmission. Reverse lockout's just over. There's no push down or pull up or anything like that. We'll talk about this more as I am driving the car, but it feels pretty notchy so far. Stability control behind that, drive mode select, and then your parking brake. Got some cup holder action, and then you guys can see pretty good storage. Nice stitching and everything here on the top. And speaking of stitching, look at that across the dash as well. I will say though, at the very top, plastic. Anyways, nice glove box. And then up top we got a control for the sunroof, because yes, this does have a sunroof, and it also has the rear view camera mirror, which helps out because you can't see out of this car. Now, before we move on to the next feature, we need to talk about today's video sponsor, Morgan & Morgan. Now, believe it or not, the modern world is actually a pretty treacherous place. Every single time you go out for a drive, there's a chance that you could get into an accident. You could be walking in front of a business, they could have something on the ground, and you could slip and fall and hurt yourself. And on top of that, you could just be doing your job, right? Like you always do, and something could happen and you could sustain a major injury. This is a topic that's very important to me personally because I drive about 40,000 miles per year for the channel. And so there are a lot of situations that I'm put in on a day-to-day basis where accidents almost happen. Now, knock on wood, nothing's happened for years, but there's always the chance that something could happen. And this is where Morgan & Morgan comes into play. They are America's largest injury law firm with over 100 offices, over 800 lawyers, and over 4,000 case staff that are all ready to help you out. And one of the best parts about working with Morgan & Morgan is that things like the negotiations, the court hearings, and the research associated with putting together a case are all free unless you win. And so if you're involved in some kind of personal accident, whether it be a car accident, a slip and fall accident, or an accident at the workplace, then you might want to get help from Morgan & Morgan. And on a little bit of a side note, don't feel bad about hiring an attorney. Remember that you're suing the insurance company that is worth billions upon billions of dollars. They can more than pay for the compensation that you deserve. So if you are injured in an accident, then you can check out Morgan & Morgan at www.forthepeople.com/Ben Hardy, or you can give them a call at #529, that is pound law. Again, www.forthepeople.com/Ben Hardy or pound law. Well, let's talk about visibility before we set off. Huge visibility over the hood, and then you guys can see we've got the heads-up display, which is really cool. We've got blind spot wiring through both the mirrors. Then yeah, visibility sucks throughout the rear. That's why the camera mirror helps out. Now I want to make sure that, okay, rev match is off. I just want to make sure that's off for the starting portion. This is going to be a little bit of a weird review, but I just basically, it sounds weird. I want to play with the downshifting in this at the initial part of the review, just to see how blippable it is, because if you guys don't know, I own a GT350, and that is obviously not exactly a direct competitor with this, right? The GT500 would be a more direct competitor, but you can't get a GT500 with the manual. So I guess the question that I want to answer is this the best manual muscle car that you can get? Will this convert me to Team Chevy after driving it as someone who owns a GT350? And that's where rev match downshifting comes in, because, you know, I feel like a hallmark of a really good sports car is how blippable a throttle is. So let's find that out. First off, I will say it's really easy to drive this, and this road is bumpy. Let me tell you. Oh, that was weird. Okay, I totally missed the gear horribly there. Like, for some reason, like, the shifter pulled me into gate number 4 instead of 2, but I'll still blame it on myself, even though that was totally the shifter. It was me also. Driver error. Anyways. Super notchy. Oh my gosh, this thing feels like it has a bajillion horsepower, but it's very, very bumpy. Okay. Ooh, that is super easy to rev match downshift. Like, that is probably even easier than the GT350, honestly. Pretty close. Yeah, I mean, it's like perfectly tuned. It's crazy. Wow, I love that. Sounds really good. The shifter's actually really good. I'm actually impressed with this transmission. I don't know if this is a Tremec or, you know, what it is, but I'm actually really impressed with this transmission overall. So I think that that's really cool. It has this nice, like, notchy feel to it, which I think is fantastic. I mean, yeah, going through the gates like there, it just, I don't know, it feels really good. So transmission's good so far. You know, I'm gonna turn it to the auto rev match, so it will do everything for us. But it would be something that would be very easy to blip as well. So I think that's good. Yeah, it's super, like, you could daily drive this with how easy it is to drive. So I think that's also another big positive. Oh, I love Yeah, the auto rev match that it does is really good, actually. Oh man. And it just gargles out of the exhaust. Like, listen to this. Listen to this. Oh my goodness, this thing sounds so good. We're gonna get a little acceleration here. Listen to the overdrive on this. It's like pop, 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 pop. It's so fun. Such a fun car. Wow. So yeah, I mean, summing things up here with this Camaro ZL1 with the manual transmission, drives really well. It's super thrilling. On top of that, the manual transmission's great. Honestly, I don't have anything bad to say about this car. It's a blast. So in order to get back where I need to get back with this car, I actually have to drive down the road and everything. A little bit of a process. So that means that, well, you guys are gonna get a little bit more Camaro ZL1 action. Okay, so continuing along here, we're gonna get, I guess, like a mini pool. Oh, you know what? Here's my opinion. Here is my opinion. I think that this is very different from the Shelby GT350. Very, very different. But, big but, I think that it's thrilling in a different way, and like, I approve of this as much as the GT350. Like, I think this is a situation where you could not go wrong, because the power this provides, how good the transmission is, and how fun it is to drive, and the handling and everything that I felt, it's such a good package overall. So yeah, that's my take. Is I thought coming into this, you know, I was gonna be like, yep, no, I love my GT350, you can't beat that. But I leave this review with the opinion, that the GT350 has its benefits and this has its benefits, but like, in my mind, they're both equally as fun to drive and equally as cool, just different. So let me know your thoughts. Let me know if you're ZL1 or GT350.